Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to my booth. I'm Jay. Today we're listening to one of your samples. This one comes from Karl. Primarily does character stuff, but is looking to break into audiobook narration. We'll give a listen and give some feedback. As always, if you'd like me to review audio of yours, there's a form in the description of this video. Fill it out, send me something, and we'll put you in a video just like this one down the line. Just be patient with me while I get through everybody else. And of course, if you want to do one-on-one coaching, that's on my website. Karl, without further ado, take us away, my friend.
For over 20 years, Ernest Hemingway spent virtually every fall and winter at Sun Valley, Idaho. Although his legendary haunts were Italy, France, Switzerland, Spain, and Cuba, Idaho was his true home. The wild mountain crags, the sunny meadows, were his nirvana. The hunting and fishing were always good there. The canoe trip down the Silver Creek or a trek up a pass of the Possumoroy Range unfailingly yielded fresh game for the table.
So, Karl, already I'm really enjoying your tone of voice, the sort of like pastoral scenes that you're setting up are just lovely. In a scene like this, and particularly with the sort of mood that it evokes, I guess, where in this instance we're learning that Ernest Hemingway spent his time here sort of relaxing and thinking and interacting with nature and the world. That sort of relaxed tone can really bring us into it and let us see the landscape. I do, however, think that you could live it a little bit more, really feel the things that you're feeling, almost narrate it as if you're sort of adopting a not first-person perspective, because this is sort of an omniscient narrator describing everything to everyone. But you can adopt almost Hemingway's feelings about the place if you wanted to. That can help the listener to sort of get more into why these places and these images matter to the person that you're talking about. So, as an example, let's listen to this little list here.
Although his legendary haunts were Italy, France, Switzerland, Spain, and Cuba, Idaho was his true home.
So there, you do a great job listing everything. Each one has its own subtle, sort of different flavor, and that's never something that you want to overdo, really make a meal of. You don't want to go Italy, France, etc. So you do a really good job delineating and differentiating those. But then when you get to Idaho,
Idaho was his true home.
You can make us feel that nostalgia, that love that this person had for Idaho. Because although he spent a lot of time in this place, and this place, Idaho was his true home. And you kind of do that. I just think that you can go much, much further in generally that direction. Let's continue listening on. I think we stopped about here.
Thrived in the alternating sessions of high adventure and novel writing. He presented himself to the world as a man's man, and in both his published work and his very public behavior, he established a heroic image of himself as an athlete and a sportsman, a worldly wise reporter, a battle-scarred.
So yeah, all of those too, a sort of similar vibe, I would think, to the places thing, where you can sort of live those experiences. Each different one, you can give us a sort of glimpse into what it was like for this person to live that aspect of their life. And I think that that'll just serve to add more flavor and depth to what is already a great start to narration. Let's listen to this bit again.
Papa and his fiction thrived in the alternating sessions of high adventure and novel writing.
That's another bit there too, when you say he thrived on high adventure and novel writing. Just generally, I think you can live these things more and that'll bring it out. And then that one in particular, you're already sort of saying there's this and this side to this person. But if you go further, it'll help us to understand that those are two different parts of this individual and how those two parts are connected. which then leads us into this next bit where we're talking about more facets.
He presented himself to the world
who
as
this
a man's
person
man,
is.
and in both his published work and his very public behavior, he established a heroic image of himself.
I also think that you could stand to allow yourself, if you so wish, I don't know what your natural style is. Something for me that was difficult when I was training was I had a very monotone, even keel delivery where everything sort of lived in a very small range. And I was just listening to a narrator today on the New York Times audio app, which I highly recommend to anyone that likes short nonfiction stuff. But they had a tremendous range of pitch where their delivery was incredibly musical. And what I mean by that is if you used sort of your hand to trace where people's pitch goes, you can, it helps to give us understanding of certain aspects of the things that we're sort of downloading via your narration. That was a lot to spit out, but to break it down perhaps more simply is I can use the music in my voice to highlight the important aspects of whatever I'm delivering. So in this bit here,
Papa and his fiction thrived in the alternating sessions of high adventure and novel writing.
Papa and his fiction thrived on all these things of high adventure and novel writing. So right now you're sort of Papa and his, we'll trace it. Let's do the, as an example, we'll trace the pitch of your voice.
Papa and his fiction thrived in the alternating sessions of high adventure and novel writing.
So to exaggerate that, we could go, Papa and his fiction thrived on a thing of high adventure and novel writing. And that's, of course, a horrible way to perhaps go about it. But as an example, you can really stretch that, and it helps to just make certain bits of information easily legible to the listener, which in nonfiction is particularly helpful. And as an exercise for that, what I'll often do with coaching people is we'll do just a really extreme version where you go to the highest bit of your range and then down to the lowest bit of your range. And if you move between that and you can even almost do it arbitrarily. And if you do it arbitrarily, all of a sudden you start to get a bit more of a feeling of the thing that you're saying. And it looks and sounds really silly, but it helps to bring you out a little bit more and make the information a little bit more present instead of just even keel, which can be great and really relaxing to listen to. But it can also sort of turn your brain off a bit if you're just presenting the information in a really monotone voice, which is not exactly what you're doing. But again, I just think you can go further. Karl, I hope that's helpful for you. If you have any questions about this or anything else voiceover related, of course, you're always welcome to reach out here on my website. And for everybody else, if you have any questions, there's here my website and coaching on my website. Check it out if that's of your speed. And until the next one of these, be well, everybody, and I'll see you then. Toodles.